I feel like prayer can be a moving target, kind of depending on seasons of life and maybe how I'm doing with that discipline at any given time. But I feel like kind of generally what it looks like is a part of my quiet time in the morning when I would wake up, of trying to set aside more specific time to pray. And I think most often it's going to be sort of accompanied or alongside reading of the scripture, which has felt like a really rewarding thing. I think growing up, maybe praying was just the laundry list of items that I would think to ask of God, whether for myself or for others, or the things that were going on. But I feel like in the last couple of years, prayer being a way more of trying to commune with God, in a way of having Him speak to me through scripture, but also using scripture as a way of even having a conversation with God. So yeah, that's more of like a general sense of what prayer looks like. But I think kind of practically, it would look like time in the morning before my day begins, of being able to read and to pray. Yeah, I think a lot of times, there wouldn't necessarily be like an intrinsic motivation, but it is something that I feel like is important. So it would feel like, even if I know I'm going to do it in the morning, and so I think that's kind of how it comes to pass, is that it is just sort of built into the rhythm of the day, is that there's going to be time for that. I feel like the prayer guides that we've been using the last couple of months have been super helpful, because I think when the liturgy can kind of interweave the reading of scripture with prayer, that's really helped make the discipline there. Because sometimes if I were to just read and kind of keep going on before, then it's easy to be like, oh, well, I used all my quiet time, so now like I'm not really going to pray, and that felt fine. So it's been super helpful to have these guides that have kind of mixed the two of those together. I think one challenge, with the busyness part, is that it's easier for me to set aside that time in the morning, but then it sort of feels like, oh, am I going to pray for the rest of the day? When I don't have a block of time set apart, I feel like that's an area where I would struggle, of in the middle of a work day, or then going into dinner and bedtime afterwards with Josephine. It's sort of a question of where does prayer fit in for the rest of the day? Is it just something that I do at 6 a.m. every morning, or can it become, part of my rhythm throughout the day? And I think that would be maybe an aspirational part of prayer, that it's not just this once every 24-hour check-in, but that it could be something where I could have real communion with God without a 30-minute block of time set aside. So that's maybe the challenge, aspirational side. But I do think maybe to even go back to the question, knowing that it is part of my morning, is good. I guess another area is that I've enjoyed that the prayer guides have the evening liturgy, sort of a spiritual bookend to the day, where I would have the morning, but then it's the bookend of the day. Now that one is a lot harder to do. I feel like whenever Maggie and I do that evening prayer together, that's something that does feel really good, that we are able to practice kind of our spirituality together. And it also feels like going through my day, knowing that there is going to be that bookend, almost does make it feel easier to pray and seek God. I don't know why, but it's just this sense of, I know that I'm going to have that set aside time again at the end of the day. So it would make it feel easier to commune with God in smaller moments in the middle of the day.